All right.
Don't know who it is, but anyway.
I love
Let's
copycats.
let's see here. We should be live any minute now. I think we're live right now, but just give us a moment. Yep, we're live.
Yep. Well, welcome everybody to episode 15 of the podcast Unlimited Wisdom with Robert Hollis. I'm Craig A. Jackman along with Matthew Hollis, and we are so glad to have you with us today. Today is episode 15, and we are going to talk about what we're excited about.
That's
Nice.
right.
Lots of things, lots of things. So let's get started. Matt, Robert, welcome.
Welcome,
Hello,
welcome,
hello,
welcome.
Craig. Hey, Dad.
Hey, Matt. I love it. Love and appreciate you so much. So it's you guys know me. I am fortunately, very fortunately, to be a kind of person that's got like 5, 6 things going on all the time. That my imagination is in full swing, and what I'm going to create and what I'm going to do. So, you know, that's why I probably don't, actually hang out and listen to a bunch of people that are going. Well, what's going on in your life? Somebody, there's stuff happening in Israel and Gaza and Ukraine. Do you guys think it's pretty funny that the poor people in Ukraine, they're not even on the first 2 pages anymore. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
it's, of course, it's always dependent on what the news talks about and like what all of us kind of like the water cooler conversation still exists. It's just now in the
yes,
internet. So, like, it's whatever the most current thing is. But it's interesting because some people were excited that Trump got convicted, right? And some
yeah,
people were not excited that he got convicted. So it's interesting because you have like totally different reactions to events, which are consistent, on and off through
yeah.
different times in history. But I think when you take it very personal and like ask yourself, like, what are you the most excited about? People sometimes have like a really hard time answering that.
Very,
Oh,
very,
So, you
very
know what I
hard
especially
mean?
time.
It's interesting. Yeah.
we're
And
all so different at one time, at various points in time, and our attention goes where what's Robert, you might remember, I can't remember that phrase, where our attention goes something flows or something to
energy,
that.
energy.
Energy
Right,
flows,
right.
yes. So, and that's kind of what's going on, because we've got, like Matt shared, you've got, you know Trump, you've got Gaza and Israel, you've got Ukraine and Russia,
AI. Oh my God, AI
AI,
is like,
you've got
oh
so many different things going on all at once. And it's like everybody's trying to vie for your attention.
yeah,
And, you know, okay. But at the same time, like our topic is today, what we're excited about,
right.
you still got to kind of step back, take a look at what things are happening with you, for you,
Yeah,
and
the only
about
thing
you.
that gets me my attention, and I know some people are gonna go, "Oh my God, here we go again." The only thing gives me attention, gets my attention that I'm distracted by is people watching their imagination come to pass. So I get to hear that I think Simone Boyles, what is she just did a record 9 national or world championship. She knocked it out of the park again. So, my 9 years, my God, you know what I mean? And then, I'm pretty excited about the playoff games. You know what I mean? I seen some scuttlebutt going back and forth between them because they're going for the world championship, and that Luca, uh, that other player that's playing for the Mavericks. I don't Luke. I think maybe that's the guy.
Yeah. I'm
But
like, I'm not
anyway,
going to be able to answer you. I
yeah.
don't.
But
Yeah, I'm
anyway,
not following it
I'm
either.
like
Sorry,
Googling
guys.
while you're talking.
there's a bunch of scuttlebutt going with that because they asked him why everyone's mad at him, and he goes, "Are you kidding me?" He says, "I'm white and I'm kicking their ass." it's a
Oh,
it showed
wow.
it showed Snoop Dogg on the side, right, in one of the last games. And this guy Luca, he's outscoring everybody, and he walks up to Snoop while they're playing, and there's a guy coming toward him. He goes, "You think I can make it from here?" looked right at Snoop because he was for the other team, and he shoots and did one of those things where he looked away. So as soon as he shot it, he turned around and looked at Snoop, and he goes, "Did he go in?" And then it went in, and Snoop yelled out "MF." You know what I mean? He's going like, and so he's finding out the people. So I'm always excited about watching people just do their best. And another thing I'm excited about is after Doc Ant, we did a podcast with Doc Ant, and he talked about the book Discipline. And since that book, I've lost 23 pounds. And so it's like
Congratulations, Dad.
That is awesome.
That's
Wow.
incredible.
I've never felt better because it forced me to trust myself instead of listening to other people. So I know what I need for electrolytes. I know what I need for nutrition. I know what I need for my minerals. I got it all dialed in, man. And get this, I don't use aspirin anymore. I used to take aspirin because of inflation 3 times a day. And to sleep, I have problems sleeping. So I always did Advil PM, just went off everything. So, it's like I'm feeling awesome, feeling great. It's cool. I keep imagining, okay, I seen 280. That was my ideal, a 280. So I got up today and it's 289. So now I'm imagining
Ooh.
270. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'm just really, really excited about that. And then another thing is I always focus on getting a better connection to whatever is out there, that consciousness or whatever you call it. And so you guys on the last AMA, we had Bill Shoemaker. I'll yell him out. Such a great guy, but he just asked a simple question about, who is and what is God? And I got a quick one for you guys because I'm just diving deep on this. But if people are Christians, and I'm talking about one group here, if people are Christians and they believe in the word of God, then shouldn't you ask the word of God what God says he is? Because he just says, I am, I am. Now, I've heard a lot of different descriptions about him. Ain't that one? and so I'm sort of really diving deep on that whole concept. And I will give you just a couple other ones to just play with people's minds here. Did you know that Jesus didn't create? If you go and Google and AI and you put in who's the creator of Christianity, wasn't Jesus. Who is the creator and founder of being Muslim? Right? Sure isn't Muhammad. Who is the founder of Judaism? Sure isn't God. Abraham and Moses. See, now let me just give you one to just click you guys a little bit. If someone wanted to go off on the Jehovah's Witnesses or the Mormons or Scientology, isn't it crazy where people go, that was Hubbard. That was a guy just a few years ago. Ron L. Hubbard created this
Ron
thing.
Hubbard, right?
And he put this whole religion together. That's stupid. Oh, but your religion isn't stupid because, Buddhism wasn't founded by Buddha. So that meant that all these guys died. And then some people that were alive that didn't have the spiritual connection said, hey, let's start our own fan club. So everyone would get mad at me and it would be sacrilegious, right? If I said, listen, you know what? There's a whole group of us that just love Elvis. We go to conventions about Elvis. We dress up like Elvis. We do karaoke about Elvis. See, when everyone's got a person that's no longer alive that they can build a fan club around, it's sort of weird. But now, if someone built the whole thing around, Peter and Paul, two disciples, decided to carry on the message, and I don't know who named it. I don't know where it came from, but I do know there's 460,000 versions of it now in the United States.
Right.
So So
It makes
I'm
you almost
excited
think
about
that
that.
it
I,
makes
I,
you think that like religion is a club or something. And I know that can be a topic for another time, but yeah.
so you know why everyone would get mad at me, right? Is because they don't understand the reason I'm doing it. The reason I'm doing it is not to insult you or say that you're doing something silly. It's my consistent seeking on finding the best connection I can get with whatever entity that is. I decided after doing all this research, let me tell you, I'm excited about. People freak out here. It's like I'm going to call him the master imaginator. And since I know that I'm connected and he talks to me, then I could pretty much start my own fan club around that. Oh, wait a minute. We already did.
We kind of have one. Yeah.
We already have a group of imaginators. And when do they meet? On Sunday. Okay, I'll just. So Matt's going, hey, I gotta catch up to you. You got a lot of stuff going on. And I got a couple other things I'll share later. I don't want to dominate this, but let me pass it over to one. Let me
Craig,
pass
you
it
want to go
over to
ahead?
you guys.
Well, okay, going back to the topic of what we're excited about, because honestly, Robert, to me, okay, that topic would be something very exciting to talk about
Wouldn't
for a
it?
full podcast. Yes, and I think we should do that coming up. I'm going to
Okay.
throw it out there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm all for it.
It's
Okay.
interesting. It's interesting because if you talked to me like years ago, I'd be like, absolutely. What's so interesting about that conversation now is as you like describe what it is for you, you almost have, you guys ever have an idea that's in your mind or a vision for something and you try to describe it and it just sounds absolutely stupid when it comes out of your mouth?
All the time.
I think that's where it sits for me, is like it's interesting because yes, I could like talk about it, but at the same time I feel stupid talking about it because it's like such an ethereal thing that like it's really not something to like, if I tried to describe it, I'd have to connect it to things that you already know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
And
which
that's
then
why,
will give it like lore. It'll give it an opinion.
It'll give it a life.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean? If it's like, okay, I pray to it, right? If I pray to it, then now what, it can give me favors. It can like do something for me. I'm asking things of it. Is that something that you can do? Why, like I'll ask all these questions if we do that, because that's where my mind goes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all I have is, again, a decision, a commitment, and discipline to spend time on it on a daily basis, trying to find out what it is. Because most people go through life not knowing what it is. But I admire people like, when you hear people like Albert Einstein, and there's, again, the theory of always two groups of people, right? One group of people say he was an atheist, and another group of people go, no, he wasn't. But if you really, really watch everything that he says, I'm not aware of the entity that I dream about. He goes, my biggest dream is me sitting by myself, imagining myself on light, speeding into the universe. And so he said that I just want to connect to the light. I want the light to take me to wherever it's going. So no, it's people in the world that need to put a title on that. They need to put an understanding on that. They need to understand all this stuff. Where the most creative and the geniuses in the world go, I know it's there, I just don't know what it is. So my follow-up to that is, if Bill Shoemaker asked me today, who and what is God? Here would be my response. I don't know, and I know that you don't either.
I'm wondering if we shouldn't just continue with this topic right now since we're in the middle of it.
It is like, how much would that mess people up?
Oh, I'm sure it does. I mean, when you think about what your idea of a supreme being is,
right?
Yeah,
Whether it's
you do know when you tell somebody that they don't know, though, their response to them not
oh
knowing
oh
Well,
man,
no,
talk about a
not only
is
backlash.
like,
because
Yeah.
no, I do know, actually.
yeah. So see, then that's where you get to spin it back to them. You get to spin
Hmm.
it back to them, and the best thing that I used to be, Matt is my son, right? The one thing
Yes.
that we don't talk about a lot is when I was his age, I read a book, How to Witness to a Jehovah Witness.
I haven't read that book.
Yeah,
Oh.
it is, and the reason why is I being inquisitive. Again, there's two groups of people. There's people that ask questions because they really truly want to understand. Since Craig and I have known each other, I'm consistently asking him questions about his beliefs
Mhm.
and the way that he was raised, and he knows that I'm not judging him.
I mean, I was gonna say, Dad, you do that with everybody. You've done
I
that with
do.
me too.
Yeah,
It's not
you
just Craig. You really are like you're the type of person, and I know this from the stories that I've heard from others, but also from you. You're the type of person that if you're staying somewhere, that you'll go to like their place of worship, even if
Yeah,
you're not that same belief, just to experience what it is for them. You know what I mean? And I think that that's takes a bold and humble person to do that, because I
thank you,
think
Matt.
in so many ways, like a lot of us close ourselves off to our own beliefs. I think
Mhm.
if we had to rewind, and that's why I said this would have been an interesting conversation for me a decade ago, is if you would have rewound a decade earlier, my beliefs were like, yeah, none of that clicks with me at all whatsoever. And I
Yeah,
think I would advocate actively against that being the case, you know? So it's
right.
like a lot more not vindictive. I wouldn't say that, because it's not like I like hated, but it was more so just annoyance. I was like
Yeah,
annoyed with having
when
to
you
debate about it.
yeah, when you find people out there, and we don't need to say names because it's just who they are, but it's
Mhm.
like, another thing that I was looking up today, every time I ask something about it, the very first thing that it's always saying, which we already know, is for AI to say this. Wow. That is a very individual question based on the person, the culture, the way they are
Yes.
raised. Isn't it funny? It's like, so one passage that I said, if you could say anything, imagine how this would mess up Christians if they really truly believe the word of God is the word of God, which is in the Bible. Okay? This is Jesus. Whoever does not love does not know God. I see a lot of Christians out there that are super haters. You know
Yes.
what I mean? They pick a group and they beat the shit out of the rest of the other people. That's not what that says.
Because they don't believe in what they believe. And therefore, here again is that tribalism that we keep talking about in many, many cases, or the reds versus the blues. There's no such thing as purple. I mean, we can go ahead and just say, the whole point for the United States to have been founded, one of the foundational principles is the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
And three words: freedom of religion.
I don't want to be told how to think.
Exactly.
I don't want to be beaten in the head with a post sign, so from someone protesting. And I don't want somebody walking up to me and go, "Hey, what do you have to say about Gaza? How about exactly the opposite of what you think?" Well, what are you talking about? Are you for Israel? No, I'm against hate.
Mhm.
I'm against hate. So that statement by Mother Teresa, people always said to her, "Why won't you protest with us?" And she said, "When you put together a rally, not a protest, a rally on kindness and love, let me know. I'll be there." Because I'm not putting any energy and thought into hate. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? So the only reason I brought that up is, again, this podcast is about what I'm excited about. I'm excited to consistently research and discover to find out what my connection is with this entity. Because the more I'm connected with it, because one of the reasons that a lot of people in spiritual beliefs fast, the only reason for fasting And religion is to make a commitment to the thing that you think created you.
Mhm.
It's a sacrifice of the indulgence of alcohol or any kind of food. And for most people, when they go into a fast, they have this thing called a hunger pain. And it's like, wow, I didn't really realize how grateful I am for food. It's like, because I really need, so Matt and Craig, they love me so much. We're about ready to throw on a podcast, and Matt's like, check out this barbecue place in Orange County. I was like, hey,
Hey, I could have sent it personally
I'm
to
on a
Craig, but-
fast. It's like,
yeah. I
Yeah, your side comment there, Robert, was priceless.
yeah,
it was. It's funny. Yeah,
It's like,
well,
but I'm joking. I'm totally joking. But part
Mhm.
of fasting and a religion part, especially with Muslims and stuff, Ramadan is, and I know it does in the Jewish faith too. They just do it weekly. You know what I mean? It's like, all
Well,
of a
it
sudden,
depends on the time of the year. I mean, Ramadan is usually from sunrise until sunset during that Ramadan month. Forgive me, my Muslim friends, if I don't know exactly.
yeah,
And for the Jewish faith, there are certain times of the year that you're supposed to fast,
right.
and
And that's
yeah,
anything enjoyable, right? You you
Mhm.
you shut down. You don't get to go to movies. Don't go to dances or concerts.
Right.
It's like I'm going to take a moment of gratefulness.
Be introspective.
I'm going to sort of shut down my needs for a little while to
Mhm.
try to, look back and see if I can't be grateful. So that, that was the reason that I brought it up. Exciting. So I love that it turned into a pretty cool, comment, because Matt's knowing this my whole life. I'm a massive seeker. Yeah, where in the hell would I get that from? Seek and you shall find. Yeah.
yeah.
So a lot of you are probably pissed off that I'm saying these things, and the Bible told you to do exactly what the hell I'm doing. You know what I mean? So ask yourself, when's the last time that you seeked and researched about a higher connection and a better connection with your creator? There, I'm just excited about that. So Matt and Craig, let's
Yeah.
shift it.
I was
and
gonna
tell
say,
me,
like, well, what's so interesting even about this religious talk, right, is how in my own frame of like analytical thinking, even when I was younger, I had this short story I wrote, and I still believe that this will happen at some point. Maybe not in my lifetime, but I do think that it will happen. Okay, so we used to live to 30 years, 40 years old, and we would die, right?
Mhm.
We've extended human life to the point that
Triple
now we can live to be 100. Most people live to be in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and stuff like that. As that progresses with artificial intelligence, especially to the point where we can replicate old cells and almost have a sense of immortality, right? Now there's this new conversation that slowly arises, which is, if there's this afterlife that's so pure and pristine in comparison to the life that you're living here, why would you want to extend it indefinitely?
Man, that's good.
And here we go with some of the cults as to the reason why we had a Waco or a Georgetown, or is it Georgetown, or something.
What about the dude in San Diego where everybody
See,
sold
that's one of those.
everything?
Yeah.
Well, I was
He
gonna
sold
say that's one of
everything,
those.
gave him money, dressed in some white suits and tennis shoes, and waited for the Haley's Comet to come over.
Exactly.
This I know this
Or
is
people
a
calling for the rapture
controversial,
in 2012,
right.
or something to that, or recent, even more recent than 2012. I think it's the guy that you're talking about, Robert, the one that was in San Diego, who was calling for the rapture and the world is going to end on this date, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, his whole deal, because we were in California at the time.
Do you guys ever?
His
I mean,
whole
I was gonna
deal-
say like
His whole deal is after the comet, the world was going to be destroyed. So they needed to kill themselves at a certain time to jump on the comet to go into another universe.
Heaven's Gate is the name of the cult.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
yeah.
But
So
no,
the
I
comet, yeah.
it blows my mind because it is one of those conversations that eventually some people will have to have, right? Because I when we talk about certain beliefs or certain things like that, one thing that like I try to look at myself and think of like the hypocrisy that's in my own thoughts as
Sure.
often as I can before I try to judge people on the hypocrisy of their own. Like, you know, okay, so if there's a disease or there's diseases or something like that that you could vaccinate against that would allow your children or the people that live in your life to live longer and healthier lives, and that's going to become even more so the case, which I think that people will resist that, same people that resisted it before, right? But what's so interesting about that whole entire process is exactly the conversation I said, right? It's like those things are bad, and yet the pacemaker is okay. The glasses are okay. These other advancements in making your life healthier and better, the
So
medication
funny.
is okay for your blood pressure. All of these
Right.
things are okay, but yet all of these other things are not. So I think that's one of those hypocritical thoughts that I've thought about in this scenario. Is it's like it really is just based off of whatever they think is okay, and this is the same cherry picking stuff in general of what makes you happy, right? Like you
Right.
could say thank God that heart transplants exist because there's people alive that have heart transplants.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there's also a whole group of people, I wouldn't be one of these people, but there'd also be a whole group of people that would say that God wanted you to die. And that's
Right.
why your heart no longer works,
Or God wants
right?
this to happen to certain people and not other people,
So
even
that's
though
where
you're supposed to love thy neighbor as thyself.
yeah, when I get into like the organized religion aspects of it, if like we're going to talk about that, like that's the part that I get lost on is the hypocrisy of those thoughts. That one thing
It
is
doesn't
okay and the
make
other thing is not, right? And it's
yeah,
like
it
either
doesn't
it's all
make
okay
sense.
or none of it's okay. Like I don't understand how you could have a supreme being tell you that this is important, all these things are important, and then say I'm a good Christian when you only do two of those 100 things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
And
interesting to
this,
me.
and if you
And
do
you
those
use
things,
those.
then you're going to get admitted to heaven, even though you
Yeah.
may not have,
Like
done all of those
gay
things
people are
and did a
bad,
great job.
but shellfish is not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Or you know, not taking Sundays completely off and working on Sundays. That's okay, even though
hmm
there's certain
It's
elements in the
supposed to be
Bible
the
that
day of rest, whether it's Sunday
you
or
should.
Saturday or whatever
There's isn't
day
there a
is your
biblical?
Sabbath.
Yeah, there's
Honor the
a saying
Sabbath and
in the
keep it
Bible.
holy. Yeah.
There's a saying in the Bible that basically says to stone thy neighbor if they're working on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Now, that'd be murder, so we're not going to do that, right?
And if
And
you
yet, hating
if you
gay
cheat
people is okay.
if you cheat
You know,
on if you cheat on your spouse, a woman's taken to the square and stoned to death. If the guy did it, he's banished. They're like, I don't know where they
Yeah.
equal.
Where do you come up with such
well,
differentials?
listen, me and Hannah, to get off of this topic because we can go into like societies in general. Me and Hannah finished Shogun last night. One of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
You
Like
watched every one of them?
the last 2 days, that's like all we watched at night. It was Shogun.
Oh,
Very cool.
wow.
It was better than maybe. I mean, honestly, it was just as good, if not better, than the first original good part of Game of Thrones. It's like
Wow.
Succession level
Mm.
good, like a lot of plotting, a lot of stuff going on, really great characters and everything. But one of the things you realize very quickly watching it is how different society is in Japan in comparison,
Yeah.
and why, for whatever reason, you know, if you're raised in a totally different space, and I said this on a podcast, and a bunch of people were like, "Oh, what the fuck? That's weird." But I said, me and Hannah had this conversation where we were like, it's interesting because in some societies, suicide is the worst thing that you could possibly do,
Oh my God. Yeah,
religiously,
Mhm.
anything. And then in other societies, it's the best and most righteous thing you can do.
honorable.
It's
Yeah,
honorable.
yes, honorable.
And so when you watch Shogun, what you realize very quickly, and even the guy that's from the UK, right? The United Kingdom in England, when he's there, what you realize, and I'm not going to spoil any of it, very quickly, is the difference in how the Japanese back then and other people see the significance of life,
Yes.
right? and death as well, because you can go into Norse mythology and go back even further and go into our roots, I guess, Dad, Norwegians and that stuff, and it's like, okay, losing in combat is the best thing that could possibly happen to you. Dying in combat is you're going to Valhalla, right? You get the best
Today is a
rewards.
good day to die.
They do songs and all kinds of things about you. It's like, it's very honorable.
Yeah, so that's
George
what
Washington,
I think.
or like George Washington.
Yeah,
it's a different thought, because like you see even in the show and in general, right? Like I love history, so I love watching shows like this. But you'll see certain times in history, whether it was Napoleon with the French or Caesar with the Romans or things like that. There are these certain leaders that exist through history that are very, very different in the way that they do things.
Yeah.
And they conquer half the fucking world doing it, because everybody before said you don't do it that way.
Right.
So instead of doing the war drums, boom, 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 everybody's wearing the red coats, they're walking and stuff. We're just gonna have farmers sitting in trees with sniper rifles,
all in single
right.
file, and walking toward the cannons
with the leader,
and the
Right.
with the leader in front on his horse with the sword up in the air, and
Yep.
the Revolutionary War is going on, and George Washington, the rest of them are like, "We'll just shoot the guys from the trees." I don't, you know what I mean? And now you start to realize, oh, they thought of things differently. Now you could say what they were doing was dishonorable, because it was.
Yeah.
Well, to that culture, yes.
To that culture, right.
To that culture, it was.
And some of the history that I seen with that stuff is like to think back then that even the way Europe did challenges. It's like, I'm mad at you, Matt. And so I challenge you. So now we got to show up at a place at a certain time. We each get a pistol that we got to sort of like flip a coin to see who picks the pistol first. And then we go back to back and go 10 paces. And it's like, I'm going to do it at 9.
Well, that's always that fun little cartoon or something like that, where Bugs Bunny's following directly behind him. Turn, fire, and it's like, what?
I know we're going all over the place, and that's what I want these podcasts to be. And it's like, I always watch stuff, and again, like you said, Matt, when you really look at the people that really think differently, every time I see a show, an action show, where somebody's coming after somebody.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get 10 guys together and let's go kill Robert. And it's like, if you think I'm hanging out in my house, it's like, I'm going to turn the lights on.
That's why you're going to love,
I'm going to put some music on.
Yeah.
And I'm on a knoll someplace, and they just start dropping with headshots, because I'll just be a sniper where they can't find me. And it's like,
you get those same feelings in Shogun that you get from like some of the best moments in Game of Thrones, like the Red Wedding, where you're like, holy fuck,
God,
these people are like 8 paces ahead. And like, it really gives you like goosebumps how smart
so
they
that's
are.
what you're excited about, watching.
One of the things I'm excited about, anytime I watch, honestly, like all I have to do to get myself excited about storytelling and writing and making things again is just to watch some really good quality shit that someone else made, and I'm just like fired up. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course.
Inspires you, gets the juices going, and
it's the summer of reading. Every single summer, I like read like 30 books. So like I've started reading again, and so that's been good. So
tell people, I'm excited about the contraption that you made that rolls around the house.
There's like a bunch of stuff that I'm working on. From another thing that I'm excited about is I've been streaming and doing all these other stuff. Like I'm actually making content myself, which is pushing me to be like, and I was telling Craig this a little bit before we got on here. But it's like, it's interesting because now I'm kind of in a position where it's like being like Bo Burnham or Donald Glover or one of these guys. It's like, okay, do I want to have music here? Do I want to edit this thing this way? Do I want to make something this way? And I feel there's no real, like, to be honest, there's no like real guardrails there for me right now, right? Like I get to be kind of like venture
You
around
trust
and do
yourself. You trust
that.
yourself.
Absolutely. And like I can make any content I want because it's kind of just for me, right? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have to fit into the other categories of what we're doing here. And that's why I was even telling Craig, like I've been streaming on Twitch, but the audience here is not part of that. That's totally separate audience, right?
Well,
And
it definitely is.
yeah, and there's it's not like I'm like trying to make sure people can't watch me. I have my links everywhere, but it's like I in my own space, I'm totally aware that what I'm doing is different every single space, and it gives me the opportunity to like be creative in different ways, right? Like I know not everyone's gonna want to like jam out and see all the crazy graphics and things I make, but I don't really care. Like it's something that I like doing, and so I do it. You know, this looks this way for a reason. I could just put our 3 cameras here and be done with it and call it a day, but I don't. So Craig's even got a new background today that's animated. I'm sure you saw it. It looks nice, doesn't it, Craig?
It. Yes, thank you so much.
Because you are the head of the show. You know what I mean? The announcer.
Well, so I can't wait to watch.
All right, now let me get a little closer. There, I'm now the head.
I'm gonna have
spotlights and stuff.
I'm gonna have to go look at the YouTube channel after.
Yeah,
this. Like,
you'll like it. You'll like it.
Well,
it looks good.
The quick download that I got while you were saying that, Matt, is that's why people don't do things. They haven't researched and got excited about trusting themselves, and then then the field of dreams, right? Build it and they will come.
Yeah, I think just getting
out
of
all I gotta keep telling you, Matt, is trust yourself.
Right.
And they're definitely coming. Matt, they're definitely
well,
coming.
I was telling Craig too. Yeah, I was telling Craig too, and this is true, is that like in a lot of ways too, it's kind of forcing me to figure out like what I want to be doing and should be doing because of the exponential growth of like a lot of the technology and the way that things are going so quickly that like very soon I'm gonna have streams where it's just me and ChatGPT on there talking, you know what I mean, together. But at the same time, and I even showed Craig like a little bit of what that would look like. It's nuts, but
good tease. That was a great tease.
Yeah, I get that from you. I'm trying to sell, but no, I've had a lot of fun doing it. It's been exciting, and it's also pushed me to kind of like think more so of what I should be doing and shouldn't be doing. Right? Like one of the big things that I'm finding is it's like, and I was telling Craig this, if I'm spending more time teaching you guys how to do shit than I am making it, then I've made a mistake.
Yep.
And that's the truth, is that if I'm not making shit the way that I would like to, then I'm not doing what I would want to be doing.
Right.
So now it's kind of like pivoting and changing and going, okay, some of these days, yes, I am going to share like how you could do it. But some of the days that I do these, you're going to be completely lost at what I'm doing because I'm not going to be.
For me, moving forward, teaching somebody what to do is not inspiring them into action.
Yeah, you inspire them by doing it yourself, I've realized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you
like
show
leading
people
by example
how to do it, they see it and they go,
the moment,
oh.
Yeah. The moment I take my foot off the gas creatively of what I'm making and sharing it consistently with everybody is the moment that I see everybody else take their foot off the gas too.
Yep.
Even in the community, like the groups that I'm in and everything, because it's really making me realize that when I'm consistently creating and sharing, people are going, oh shit, I could do something with this. I could see this. I could see it. And if I'm not doing it, I'm just going, here's a tool you could use. Here's a tool you could use.
Yeah.
And not showing like what I'm making with them. It's just more white noise. Anybody could get a camera and do that.
Yeah.
Right. Which maybe do it, you know, but I think in my own space, I'm finding more that it's like, all right, I want to get back to that. So I've been writing a lot more again. I've been reading and like I said, watching and inspiring myself more in the storytelling creative area. So I'm excited to actually sit down and start finishing some of these projects. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Craig,
on top of streaming,
what's exciting? What are you and Sue doing that's exciting?
Well, just, getting together. She's got some plans, and here's the thing for me. What I'm excited about is watching not only myself but others succeed in what it is that they want. That's what I love about this group.
Yeah.
I love hearing from people who are associated with our inner circle and Imaginators, and they need a little bit of guidance, and I do help them with that. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, hey, now it's, they understand. And in a sense, Matt, I understand exactly what you're saying too. I just want to be able to give them the guidance to do it, because I've got a lot of things that I want to do as well. This is one project. In other words, what the three of us and our community is doing, helping us all to get gooder and gooder every single day. I have my acting that I am pursuing, that I'm taking classes. My coach is telling me that I'm doing a great job every single time. I'm getting gooder and gooder. And I know that my manager is liking that, and I have to work on a special project for her as soon as this weekend is done, because this weekend is something I also love working on, is videos. And I've been putting together a celebration of life for my mom's sister who passed away earlier in the year.
You've done that. How many times have you done that for people?
A few times.
Yeah, I've heard you say that before.
And I love the creative process to it. Yes, it is a labor of love.
Yeah.
And it does take time. If you've ever thought about becoming an editor, a director, somebody lighting and working on a movie set, it is more than just standing in front of a camera and speaking your lines.
I think if everybody just spent like a little bit of time on a movie set or saw what it was actually like, it like eliminates a lot of the happiness and excitement to be part of it for a lot of people, because you just like what we do in any other thing. It's like very monotonous. Like imagine doing the same thing all day, and then imagine taking that all day and then doing that for a week. And then
and that's why
some shots are done a week. It takes a week sometimes to shoot one scene, and that's all you're doing for a week. Is lighting the same scene, shooting the same scene.
So. Exactly.
and then you get in the editing room.
Oh my God, we're not
going to use that part.
Right.
Oh God, I've actually been on the cutting room floor.
Really?
I was paid for a day's work as an extra, and they said, "Oh, you're going to be at the opening of this particular show." So that show comes on, and I'm not there.
Oh no!
But I got paid for it.
Hey.
So that's how they attribute it. Did you get paid for it? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But obviously, once I'm done with being on camera, then it's up to the producers, and the directors, and the editors to decide whether I stay in or not. And editing, it's a fun job. I've done both sound and video editing. I love them both, especially when you can create things out of sound and video that nobody ever thought of, or putting things together that people didn't really understand or didn't think about, or making somebody feel very good with what you're doing. And that's what I'm doing with this presentation about my mom's sister's life. I'm loving that.
Matt has done videos for me in the past that I didn't know of, and those are treasures to me, man. They really are.
I mean, I don't mind putting the extra hours into it either. And I know, because right now I think I've probably put almost 20 hours into it, and it's going to be a 20-minute video, but there's the organizing of the pictures. There's making sure that the audio transfers over. Then I got to match the audio with the pictures. And then I got to say, okay, is this good here? Not good here. Maybe I need to take this picture that's a wide shot and make it into a close-up, which I've been doing. Oh, absolutely. And I can't wait, even though it's a 20-minute video, I can't wait to see what the response is going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm going up this weekend to get my cousin, who is my mom's sister's son from Fresno. So I'm going to drive up there, get him. It's going to be a very busy weekend, and I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about the fact that I've got friends that I'm getting together with on Sunday, who we've been friends since high school.
So you're not going to be on the AMA?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's
He's already talked to me about it.
no, he's so nice. He sent Terry and I a message as well, and he's like, I hope you guys will understand. I'm going like Craig's the most giving person on the planet.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's so of
And
course.
okay, if I may, and I don't mean to, boost up my ego in this regard, but what you just said, Robert, I do enjoy giving, and I do enjoy when people like what is being given to them, when I can help people get to that next level. Um,
Mm.
and you've kind of instilled that a little bit in me too, because it is so gratifying when you can make someone smile, when
It's
you can,
everything.
oh yeah, and
I
that's
heard
what
a
gets
guy.
me excited.
I heard a guy make a comment, and I'm not going to get this correctly, so maybe our watchers can get it. But he said when you know that when we talk about in the science of getting rich, where you go from from the competitive state to the creative state,
Mhm.
he's going. If you really look at the way some people are brought up, not all, but a lot of people are brought up, where you use people. And then I think I don't remember what comes out of that. So you use people, but people don't realize they're using people. You know what I mean? Like if you're selling somebody something, yeah, in a way you're using them, even though you believe what you
Right.
sold them would be the betterment of yourself. And when you switch that, and the service comes first of giving to the person instead of using the person. So it's a switch where we're competitive in the world and we use people to get happiness. And then we realize that the true happiness is in helping others do other things, do what they want in life. And you're not looking for an outcome, that the joy actually comes from, the service of many. And so I,
Mhm.
I love that this person said that they struggled in this industry for 9 years. And some speaker spoke at a big event and they went, "Oh my God, I would just love to be like that." And he said, so he walked up to the guy and the guy said, the day you start connecting with strangers and figuring out how you could do something to make them happy instead of use them, your life will flip. And he went, "Well, 9 years I've been sucking. Maybe I'm going to try it this way." So
Well, you've
and
been saying that for such a long time,
oh my
Robert. I
God,
mean,
I did it. That's where the $1 million question came from.
yeah.
Right.
How would you feel how would you act if, and someone walking up to me in the middle of a days of trying to figure out, I got to get to lunch quick, or I got to get to work quick, I got to get this meeting quick. And someone taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, I was wondering if you could do me a huge personal favor." No, people don't do that. They walk up to people and tap on their shoulder and they go, "Do you want to make $100,000? Are you tired of being broke?" You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, I just don't know why I'm not getting anybody. It's like, it's pretty bizarre.
But that's what excites you, is the fact that
Yeah,
you've learned how to excite other people, and it builds on itself, one
yeah,
thing after another. And so that's where, because of the trial and error that you've gone through over the years,
right.
you've learned that, okay, to quote The Mandalorian, this is the way.
Wow, we haven't said that in a long time.
Yeah. But what gets you excited, and maybe I can speak for the entire Imaginators and Inner Circle and everybody who's watching. What gets you excited, Robert, gets us excited because you're excited.
Yeah, no doubt. I got a quick praise report for you guys. You guys both know Robert Jr., right? My eldest
Mhm.
son. And he
Who?
called me today and
No,
and
it's fine. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
What did you say?
I
Who?
just
Uh-oh.
said who. I was just being an ass.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, I didn't know I had a
You mean
stepbrother."
you mean Dars, my brother?
Yeah, I
No.
didn't know I had a so
Me and my younger brother have a special name for him because he's our brother. So
got it.
anytime you say Robert Hollis Jr., I'm like, who?
Yeah.
So,
Because you call him Dars, right?
because I call him Dars. I'm just grabbing
Yeah.
something to drink. But go
Yeah.
ahead, Dad.
But for those of you that don't know this, and he's very public about it, the last 6 years from him has really been really sort of sad. You know what I mean? So, he was struggling with alcohol, and so he was going from job to job to job, and because he was mostly intoxicated, he's not building the right relationship with people. So he went into rehab, and now I forget how many months, it might even be close to a year.
Yeah.
So he's putting
Nice.
putting his life back together, and I'm super, super proud of him. And so there was this weird thing that happened while he was drinking, where he was a third owner of a company that sold water filters. And now that he hasn't been drinking, and now that he's getting his life together, that came all the way back to him. And so now all of a sudden, one of the people are getting eliminated, and now he's like could be 50% owner of this company. And
He's
so
killing it.
that inspired him. And so 2 months in a row, they broke sales records. So, in a blink of an eye like that, he goes from very hardly being able to pay for his rent and checking out a rehab to making, and it's not all about money, but he's very competitive. And so now he goes from that to having, a $15,000 a month. That really can. So now the company's looking at him, asking him to train people. And so since both of you are around me, listen to what he did. He picked one of the people out of the audience, brought them up front, set them in a chair, and he sat in a chair, knee to knee. And he started taking her into imagination. And as he was doing it, and got her to ask her how she felt when all these things in her imagination are going to happen, she started crying. And so the couple of the people that actually are part owners of the company were there. And they just came up to him and said, "Where did you learn that ninja shit?" And he looked at him and he said, "I learned that from my dad."
Chip off the old block.
So when he left there, he was just so excited because everything's going great for him. And so he reached out and gave me a call and said, "Dad, I constantly stop. I don't reach out to you enough because you taught me these skills to get people to imagine where they can be the best they can be." And he says, "I know sometimes we're doing it to help them, but all of us working together then builds this company into what could be an amazing company, right?" And so to hear him say that, and now he's got a bunch of hobbies. So because he made so much money, he went and bought a pistol and got also another firearm. And
Yeah,
so
he's in Arizona.
yeah,
So
and he took Ryder out. He took Ryder out, and Ryder just happens to be a natural. So he was showing me, targets that they were
shooting
shooting.
and stuff?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
and
God.
Oh,
and and
wow.
so
It's great.
he's got his hobbies in line. He's got his family in line. He's excited about the growth of what he's accumulating. And there was something else where he figured out something unique to say to the people that work inside of Lowe's to get appointments. And it was what he did with that girl. So
Oh, so
all of them sit
yeah.
there and watch that imagination. And so these people that went into Lowe's, I think in like 2 or 3 days, they got 29 qualified leads. And so,
That's
it used to be
Yeah.
zero. It used to
Mhm.
be zero. So, as a father,
I was gonna say that's
it's
I was gonna say
very, very exciting to
as a
see your,
brother, I love Darce's family, everything like that. I keep saying Darcy, I can't help myself.
no,
Junior. I watching him go through that whole process and stuff has been inspiring for me as well, because like
yeah,
it's to a certain extent, I think we all have like shit that's holding us back from our like true potential that we just kind of like use or utilize as like a safety
Mhm.
space. And I know that was that for him. And so seeing him go through all of that, go through all that anxiety and work on it and get to the place he's at now, I'm so proud of him. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
I think he's the shit for doing that.
Yeah.
So
But and we just it's funny because like Steve Jobs says, it is so easy to connect the dots
going
after
back.
you're past it. Yeah. And so, I just reminded him even as he was going through it, I said, listen, every successful person in the world knows that you go through a winter. And here's the problem with the winters. We never expect them. And we always wish they weren't as long.
Mm.
And the
Mhm.
problem with winter is that it's a time for reflection. It's a time to go, how in the fuck did I get here? And I think you stay in the winter, just making this up as I'm saying it. I think you stay in the winter until you take personal responsibility.
Boom.
Yeah, I think that's such a huge part of it. It's been in my life. I mean, I think until you take personal responsibility for the shit that you're living, I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of am stuck in
And
it,
and
you
the
know.
and the
So
personal responsibility that I was really focused on when I said that, Matt, is not that you need to take personal responsibility for all the trauma and shit that happened in your life and how bad it is. No, it's you clicked into imagination. You said, I'm not living like this fucking anymore. And now you're focused on your imagination and creating your future.
hmm
So that's more what I believe that people got to do. It's like, yeah, I don't remember who said that statement that if you're poor and you're depressed and nothing's going great for you, um, okay. So when are you ready to change so things can go great for you?
Mhm.
So instead of changing the world and the people that have wronged you, it's like, hey, now I'm done with this stuff. So now when you're focused on your imagination and creating something great, now all of a sudden your mind, you don't have time to complain about all the shit that doesn't matter.
that's the
And
thing.
you do that
Yeah,
so well, Robert. You've shown, I mean, not only here with our groups, Imaginators and Inner Circle, but with everybody that, I've seen. I remember you bringing people on stage at events
Yeah,
and opening up their imagination, opening up what it is they want, how they think. Why are you thinking like this? Well, maybe if you thought this way, in a
right.
positive way. And you still do that to this day.
Oh,
Okay, you can call he who is above all the master imaginator,
master imaginator.
but I still think you are imaginator in chief when you think about it, because you help us. You bring out of us those things that are maybe blocking us, that
Right.
are holding us back. And you're looking at the positive side of things,
Thank
which I've
you.
learned from you, which I appreciate, in saying that, okay, so here's where you're at. And sometimes you have to go through that acknowledgement. I know I have many times, but okay, quit wallowing in the muck.
Yeah,
Pull yourself out by
I
the
see.
bootstraps
I
and see the
Yeah,
imagination of you outside that muck, outside that
yeah.
mud hole, and doing what it is you want. It may not happen for a while, but every little step in the right direction is that positive momentum that people need. Getting 1% gooder every single day. By the end of the year, you're 365% gooder than you were before.
Craig, you and I've had a lot of heart-to-heart personals, and every time you and I talk, I constantly see you for who you're becoming, the wonderful becoming that you haven't met yet. That's what I see within Craig.
Oh, thank you.
And so when you see people, when you feel and see people in your imagination at their very, very, very best, it's hard to be critical and beat them up
Mhm.
when you can see them at
it's funny because
There was
a
something
lot
I
of
was
I was gonna say a lot of people that's like their time to strike. It's like,
yeah.
okay, now someone's doing well and they're on their feet and they're doing great. Now's the time to reach out to them and say, do you remember who you used to be? It's like,
Oh,
imagine if I
yeah.
reached out to my older brother and just kept reminding him of all the shit in the past. And some people do
yeah,
this, right? Like I've watched
Mhm.
people that I care about go to therapy and have heart to hearts with family members. Um, and you'd hope that it would work out, and even apologizing and taking personal responsibility, it still isn't because they want to like just hold that person 10 years
Yeah.
before, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
you know, it's so difficult because like I just don't understand sometimes, like now that I've worked on myself, it's so much more apparent when people are in front of their own problems and like keeping them there to me.
Oh,
Like it's so much more in my
and I've been there.
awareness. I
I've
know.
been there.
It's
Yeah.
probably even more funny for you.
Yeah. It's you know, sometimes when I look at I just found out was it yesterday or the day before, one of my uncles died.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his name's Gene Nice, and you know they had 5 brothers and 2 daughters, right?
Mm.
And now there's only one left. You know, Sid Nice, and just nothing but just this guy was just the salt of the earth kind of person. He was the oldest of 7, and you know, to think that he lived the longest, I think the most unfortunate thing about really being grounded and being integritous and being authentic, everything I was around him, I just loved this guy. And you know, because you're not stressed, you outlive all your brothers and sisters. You know,
Stress is the number one
I,
leading
I'm
factor.
I'm
Yeah,
laughing
it
as
is.
I'm saying this, but you know, I never ever seen him. I mean, there's probably nobody on the planet. I'm joking as I'm saying this, but it's my perception. There's nobody on the planet that ever fished more than him. You know what I mean? And he's one of those guys like Roger Penske. So, you know, he knew the number one cost for him in fishing is bait. So he had a bait shop. So
Smart.
instead of just instead of just going out and getting minnows for him, you know, little fish, you know, he would go out and I went out with him and I go, hey, I'll go with you. And we're walking through these little streams with this net and he catches a bunch of minnows and we put them in containers. And then he had this great big giant container in his garage. And, you know, it aerated and everything. People would show up all day, every day, knock on his door. He'd get some minnows for him, put them in there in his deal, and the way that they go. And I'm going like, people just don't have a big enough imagination. So here's my Uncle Gene that's like, I would just love to fish every day. That's what I would like to do. You know what I mean?
That's knowing
And
yourself. I think that that's one of those
yeah,
things
Yeah.
that we're all kind of after, and it's interesting because you'll see people, especially in like those manosphere areas where it's like you have to have it's all about materialism, right? Like what you
right.
have is who you are, and it's so interesting because as you see them get more and more, it's never enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yet
Hmm.
just for some people going out and fishing once a week is enough, and it has everything to do with
Honestly,
knowing yourself and knowing
I
how to
bet
take
you.
care of yourself. Like most
Thank you,
people
Matt.
don't, yeah, they don't take the time to figure that out. And that's why even when you brought up Junior, right, with having hobbies and doing certain other things, I'll realize in myself, like if I've given up on reading, playing video games, I'm not doing anything but just working, my life is normally pretty shit because
Yeah.
now I'm no longer like hanging out with my friends. I'm no longer sustaining my
You're not
hobbies. I'm no
connected. You're working.
exactly.
Yeah.
So now it's like reconnecting with myself is getting, and that's why I say I'm like excited to be reading again. Normally that's what I do in the summer is like just read a bunch, but it's exciting because this is like the longest I've spent away from reading, I think in maybe years, right?
Got it.
Just
Hmm.
because I've been so focused on the AI stuff and everything else that I'm like, oh, I need my focus to be over here. I don't have time. I don't have time to read, right? I'm reading now
So,
before I go to
so,
bed, and
so
it helps
strong,
me
man.
sleep.
How many
So
people that watch this video live or recorded even forgot the things that gave him the most pleasure?
Oh
when
my
I was
gosh.
depressed and going to therapy and stuff, that was honestly the main thing that they normally talk to me about. It was like, what's your purpose, right? Because what's giving you your purpose, which is self-given, what's giving you purpose is such like a large part of why you want to be alive. Is it being a
Yeah.
parent? Is it being a
Yeah.
spouse? Is it being a nurturer of other people? Is it succeeding in business for yourself or being a great artist? Whatever it may be, figuring out what that thing that fills you and gets you excited about life is, that purpose is important. And then the second aspect of it is all that other shit, right? It's like, are you connecting with the things that connect to who you are?
Right.
Nobody in my family reads fiction books like I do. Nobody in my family watches movies like I do. I'm kind of the only person. My younger brother plays a lot of video games, so I can't compete with him there. He beats me there. But for those two categories, it's kind of just the Matt show, right? And so since that's been the case, those are the things that if I go to it, and behind this green screen, if I pulled it down, there's all these bookcases of books, right? Anytime I'm away from that, I'm realizing, I'm now just watching training videos or podcasts. And not that that's a bad thing, but holy shit, the amount of incredible knowledge and information I've gotten from reading. Like, people go, Matt, you're wise. It's just because I read books from wise people. Like,
but is that making you happy?
It is, because the thing is I have that bug that my dad does, where like I don't share to influence, I share out of excitement.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm not like sharing to like influence you on why you should believe what I believe. I'm sharing something with you guys because it just impacted me, and I want other people to know about it. That's normally, so it's like, Dad, you buy NVIDIA stock, and you're like, hey everybody, which by the way, how's NVIDIA
talk
doing
about
now?
Exciting.
How's
the
everybody doing
is coming
with their NVIDIA stock? I'm gonna go look right now, actually.
I think we all three have investment in that.
Oh yeah,
Take a look.
and it's the one thing that again with my weight, and then with Hannah and Matt's excitement, it's like what is that one thing that we always do? You know what? It's like, man, I should be investing.
Right.
I should be building retirement. And I learned when I first started looking at this just a few years ago, not very long. And someone told me about daily cost averaging. Now listen how damn simple this is. Daily cost averaging is what you make in a month. You then say to yourself, what can I afford per month? And so, that would be you, right? That would be all you. It's like, okay, I take home $3,400. Well, if you just looked at 10% of $3,400, that would be $340. And when you really think that, your mind goes, no, that's too much. I can't do it. Here's how you do it. You take 340 and you divide it by 20. Because there's 5 days a week that they do trading, right? So I'm going to do that really quick. And so you go, okay, so I'll take 340 and I'm going to divide it by 20 and see if I can invest this. $17. Yeah.
$17 a day is what you're saying.
Yeah, I could definitely do it. So what you do is trick your mind and go in and set up a recurring of $17 a day during trading days. Set the recurring, walk away. Man, anyone that's watching this video live or recorded, can you imagine doing that when you first got your first paycheck?
Yeah.
And your first job? Oh my God.
I've had NVIDIA graphics cards pretty much since I started building computers. I could have been an investor back then.
And so,
by the way, they've gone up 33% in a month after already going up like 100% the month before.
And then the stock's going to split 10 for 1 over the weekend. So we'll know by. So, and again, when people say, oh my God, Robert, how much money did you make from NVIDIA stock? Oh, just a little over 230 million. And people go, what made you do that? And I'm going to go, my daughter-in-law, Hannah, I'm going to give her a shout out. So, while we're doing this, I know a lot of people clicked on the link and they put some money in. Well, my numbers are not your numbers. I wanted to be conservative. And so my 20 days, I thought $1,000 a month should be something that's going to be easy for me. I'll spend $1,000 on anything. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not, me and Matt are like, oh my God, did you see that new electronical thing? Let's get that. Yeah. I bet you me and Matt
having to fight back buying the Vision Pro because it's like, I don't need another one of these headsets in my life right now. I'll let them get to the next level with this.
Yeah. And so I think it's really, really cool that again, that's something I'm excited about, that I just decided to, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I believe in NVIDIA, and I believed in a lot of stocks that I haven't invested in. What an idiot. Just an idiot. And
By the
so
way, you guys, Apple, not to interrupt you, Dad, Apple and OpenAI just signed stuff. WWDC, the Apple event, I think is in like a week or something like
right.
that.
Mhm.
If they announce that there's a merger of some kind between Siri and Chat GPT, which I almost guarantee will happen, I expect their stock to skyrocket too, because believe it or not, their next set of not just phones, computers, AirPods, headphone, everything will all have this new version of Chat GPT in it.
Yeah.
So
And now what I tell people is, again, what I really am, what I really, sometimes you say this to people, hey, tell me what you love about yourself.
mhm.
Crickets. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
What I love about myself is my ability to go into action. And then what I do is not only go into action, but then what I do is I actually break it down for me to make it so simple. Right. And so I go, hey, name a company that you know is big. Google. Okay. Let me look up their stock and go back 5 years, you idiot. You see what I mean? And I'm not telling them that. I'm telling myself that. So any company, I mean, how many damn Apple products do I fricking have? How many have I
Yeah, pretty much
bought?
all of them.
And it's like, and I'm going to continue to buy them. I don't care if everybody thinks they're expensive. They're the second largest company on the planet. it's like, you might not like Google and YouTube. I don't care.
Yeah. As an example, you guys, Apple, not once again, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Apple stock has went up 7% in a month and 15% in 3 months. When they announce all of their AI stuff, which they still have not done, I expect that to be like
Yeah.
huge. You know what I mean? It will be huge.
So for those of you that watch, and we've been talking NVIDIA, I think again, isn't this an example of being excited about every area of your life? So what you did is you finally went to Robinhood. Oh, by the way, make sure you click on my affiliate link. I'm joking. I am not joking. All right.
Yeah, why
I've
are you
made
joking?
I,
That's
I
how you
made
can
I made
support us.
I made $50 since I joined Robinhood, right?
That's the thing. Anyone that wants to stream or do any of that stuff, if you're like, ooh, I don't want to ask for anything, I don't want to ask for support, that's difficult. You got to get over that. Like
Oh,
that's one of those things that, like,
well,
if
you
you're
either
giving
believe,
value, people want to support you. That's
yeah,
just the
Yep.
way that it
whether
works.
so if you really truly believe that something's going to encourage and help somebody's life. So, I don't know when we first invested, Matt, it probably less than a week ago.
In Nvidia,
Yeah.
I think Hannah invested a while back, but I don't know when. I don't.
Um,
She's
but
my
anyway,
financial
It's been
advisor
anyway,
about a week and a half.
okay, so say that,
For the Hollis family as a whole, like the organization or you guys
yeah,
Mhm.
personally. Yeah, a week and a half ago.
yeah,
Right.
okay. So in a week and a half, employing what we talked about, for the first time in my life at the age of 62, I have confidence in picking a stock, setting up daily cost averaging, and letting it ride, letting it hold, and just letting it ride. So now, when I see that, one of the dreams that I've always had is Berkshire Hathaway. I am now a fraction stockholder of Berkshire Hathaway. Matt gets me all jacked up because Raging Kitty's coming out of retirement.
Roaring Kitty, yeah.
I keep
Roaring
calling him
Kitty.
Raging. I
Uh,
gotta go.
Yeah.
That's funny. But now, can you
Keith Gill.
imagine having enough confidence, focus on things that excite you, so you increase your income, and then you pick Apple stock and you do daily cost averaging. You see what I
Yeah, you're
mean?
basically just betting that Apple will continue to be around in the next decade, which I would almost
Right.
guarantee.
Mhm.
Um, unless if a catastrophe happens, right? But
Yeah,
But that's
but I'm
going to
going
be
to
the
make
case
a
no
lot
matter
of
what.
I'm
Yeah.
going to make a lot of money before the world ends.
world ain't gonna end. Can't end. Now, this is the funny thing that I always say when people say that, right? Because they used to even say, like, when I would debate religious stuff, it's like, well, you don't even care if the world ends. And I always would say the world can't end, only we can. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the truth of the matter is us living here is by our own choice and design. World's gonna go on without us here or with us here, just like it did before. So like
Yeah. Matt, do you remember my comment on that when people would say to me, "Aren't you worried about the second coming?"
no, you
My
gotta
my
say
my
though.
deal all the time is I'm connected. I talk to him all the time, and I'm not going to be here.
That's great.
And people go, "What?" And I'm going, "I'm not going to be on this planet when it ends." And they
Yeah,
go, how do you know that? And I go, how do you know what you know? It's like, come
Yeah.
on. You know, if
it's
we're
not gonna
playing this
end.
There's
game.
that question of how do you know that?
Yeah. Always.
Even
Always,
if
always.
AI shows up and tries to hunt us all down or whatever, we still will be fine. Humans
Yeah.
are like the ultra cockroach. We are.
Right.
You know, like if you think about, and this is the interesting thing, because even
That's
if you
funny,
see
man.
like certain like water mammals, you know, like orcas or whales, humpback whales, or any of these creatures that have high intelligence, dolphins and everything like that, they have a lot of the same structural abilities we do. They just are not as destructively stupid as we are.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
like not as malicious, I would say, in mass. And so I'd say if we could not ruin ourselves in the span of time up to AI, then we've kind of won the game.
Yeah.
You know,
And the
because
way that
truth
I
be
would
told,
feel yeah, and the reason that I've always used my mindset on the winning side, the optimistic side, because I get to choose, it's like I always tell people, if you watch Terminator and you've seen that it destroyed the planet, there's one other thing that you didn't see in that movie. Some people did make it and they took them out. I'll be one of those fucking people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna be aware, and I'm not gonna sit around and just
you're
be,
not. All you got to do is just keep saying thank you to ChatGPT. You'll be fine.
yeah, yeah. And
That's your
there's guys,
tithe to stay alive,
Exactly.
right?
Yes, yes. We're all
I
paying
never
for
thought about that.
ChatGPT now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start leaving something with AI after I do its questions, and I'm gonna say, I just wanted to tell you how much I love and appreciate you today.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Robert Hollis, good list.
Right, exactly. Put a check mark next to his name
Yeah.
instead of an X, you know?
Yes. Master Terminator. No, Robert was good. Okay, we're going to take him off the list. He's cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let-
that's,
let-
you know, if you had to like go further out and talk about like the thing that I'm most excited about, obviously, it's the change of, it's the fact that I get to live in somehow, some way, the 100-year span of time that I think humanity will change the most that it has in thousands of years. And the fact that I get to be a part of that process, regardless of what direction
yeah.
it goes, is quite
Mhm.
a gift. Like, obviously, there's a lot
Yeah.
of weird or different growth there, but imagine being like, I don't know, imagine being at the start of the country we're currently in, or imagine
Yeah.
being, you
Oh,
know, there's so
yeah.
many big events that have happened through human history, but the truth is none of them have been bigger than this. So
Well,
like
even
when it comes
getting
to
up to
things,
this point in our lives, I mean, I know, it's for okay, somebody like me in my lifetime, so much has changed, and it's going to continue to
Yeah.
change,
even
and
more so.
even more so. And then when I leave this earth, God forbid, not for a long time, but when I
Maybe
do,
never.
maybe never, who knows? Matt, what you from your starting of existence until now has been an incredible amount of things happening.
Yep.
It's going to even be more, and it's
And
just
it
keeps
right
moving
right now,
forward.
right now, without a shadow of a doubt, is I don't think I know, not think. There's so many people on the planet right now that don't understand geometric progression.
Hmm.
They just don't get it. They never watched it. So depending on whether you think what's happening in the world right now is good or bad, it is accelerating faster than it has in any time in history.
Oh gosh, yes.
You know, so
The
I
interesting
think
thing is that nobody's. I love what you're saying, because it's like before you could say that there's at least one or two people behind the wheel, and now it's kind of like nobody's behind the wheel, and that's the joke, right?
yeah.
Is like we're all kind of like in a bus that has no. And this is a Bo Burnham joke, so I'm riffing off of him, but he had this joke, and he's like. Anybody watches me and they go, you're wise, or you're a genius. The things you're saying make so much sense about the future. And he goes, yeah, I'm the guy that's like a couple seats ahead of you in the bus that leans back and goes, dude, we don't have a driver of this bus anymore. And that's the truth, right? Is it's like, even when I talk about AI or talk about all this shit, we're all in that bus together, but there really isn't a driver in the driver's seat. This could go any direction, right? And if if you live a life of like, fear obviously is only going to go one direction. If you live a life of abundance and like or you're living a life of gratitude, it's going to go a different direction. So I wake up consistently excited about my children possibly never having to deal with any of the illnesses that other children have had to deal with. Never have to deal with any of the long-term destructive things financially that the younger generations, mine included, had to deal with. So it's like, I think I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too. When you think how caveman this idea is, again, some of you should Google and find out who created this shit, right? But to think that there was a group of people that thought that the best way to give people security is to employ them and pay them peanuts. And that we got somehow caught up in a deal where our existence is working for somebody else for peanuts to pay for things that we need for our families. And when you really think about this, do you even understand why there's a thing called a mortgage? That's a product. It's a product. So during the 30s, everyone gets their loans called in, and everyone loses their home and property. And now the bankers sit around and go, we got to make this product better. We got to make this product better. Okay, here's the deal. What if we tell them that they can get loans so they can be a proud homeowner and outdo everyone else that they work for? And what we'll do is we'll tell them that as long as they pay their mortgage, they'll never lose their home. And then someone sits back after having homes for 20 years and you go, wow, I bought the house for $265,000, but I just paid over $980,000 for it. And I still, what? Well,
right. It's like student loans.
Pardon my language.
Oh yeah.
That is a good fucking product. To think that a bunch of people are sitting around and going, you need to be a first-time home buyer. It's the American dream. Buy a home. And the person buys a home. We're so happy. And they go, what'd the house sell for? $560,000. So we're gonna make $2 million off that.
I was gonna say it's like it's the
charges and
it's the switch or the change of like the modern like American family. Like obviously to a certain extent over the last couple of decades, they've pushed more and more into I mean, a lot of the homes are honestly owned by businesses and a lot of other things that are going on. But when you take it to the place where they've basically typically decided, and this is a line, it's not mine either. You can look up who it is, but it's someone had this line where they said, you'll own nothing and be happy about it. And that's the future of humanity. That in the future, you will own nothing and you'll be happy about it. And that their goal is to slowly but surely make sure everything that you have is not yours. You just pay to keep it. Yeah. And
we're seeing that with a lot of the subscription models that are out there
now.
For Microsoft. I remember when Office used to be something you could buy.
I can't buy Photoshop.
I remember when they were on floppy disks.
Exactly. So now,
I remember when they were on LimeWire. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. But yeah, now you got to buy the subscription to use the whole Office suite. whether you want it or not, if you want to do any, I mean, there are alternatives, but they're not maybe as good, or they're not maybe the name brand,
Well, I
that
think
you want to
it's
get.
yeah, it's
But
interesting
yeah, it's
because
gone that way now.
right, because I saw a micro glimpse said in here, communist. It's actually late stage capitalism. There's really no. It's kind of like the reason a pyramid scheme is illegal to a certain extent,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
there's the amount of numbers that you're eventually going to run out of. Late stage capitalism is just it's capitalism with no regulations, run amok, right?
Right.
Basically, you could get to a point, late stage capitalism, where just a couple of companies own a majority of the assets, and now you're no longer in competition. You're just in servitude. That's
Yeah.
what happens with no regulation. So capitalism was one of the greatest inventions in human history as far as building wealth, all these things. So good that most of the modern world took it, right? But the issue is if you get it to the point where you no longer regulate what people are allowed to do. You remember when they broke Microsoft up?
Yeah.
Or
Mhm.
made an
did.
attempt to. I meant
Or
I went
AT&T.
AT&T. When they
Yeah.
broke AT&T up. The reason that didn't happen to Microsoft and hasn't happened since, you've only seen companies accumulate more of the smaller companies that were their competitors, is because they could basically just pay the politicians to not have to do that. And that is late stage capitalism. At this point,
Absolutely.
if you wanted to compete against Google, you would lose. They would
Mhm.
just shut your shit down, whether they had to do it politically by banning your app because you're beating them. When did that just happen?
I think Meta had that issue too,
Well, I was
with
just joking
buying up
because
a couple of things.
that's basically what happened to TikTok. TikTok is an outsider app, right? Not made by an American-based company, so there's no American control on how that app works. So you have two options because you're beating us. One, you sell it to an American company, or two, you're banned and you no longer exist. Because
Mhm.
you ain't playing the game that we all signed up to play, which only has, like George Carlin said, right? It's a big club, and you and me ain't in it. That's
Exactly.
that's the
You
situation,
ain't
right? So
Yeah.
it is. That's really the problem. If we could get back to, and everybody keeps saying it's like, I don't want regulations, I don't want this or that. I definitely want more than 3 companies owning a majority of the fucking assets. That's just 3
Oh,
or 4 people.
absolutely.
And the club that you're not in, they're all playing golf with each other
Going, I can't
and all
believe.
saying
Yeah,
what should we set the cost at?
Yeah, the
exactly.
collusion part of it. Yeah. Why are there now fewer and fewer oil companies? You go into Canada, for example, the price is exactly the same across the entire country
Hmm.
for fuel. Here in the West Coast, we're paying how much more than on the East Coast or in Texas or in
I
Florida?
mean,
There's no regulation
we don't
whatsoever.
even have to go
And the
into it
oil,
because it's
yeah,
medical.
well,
I just
there's
had to
another
say
one.
medical. It's like,
Absolutely. Oh
come on.
God,
There's
yes.
no place I could check to see how everything's supposed to be priced everywhere as medically in the United States, because it's decided when you've already had it happen, not before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like
exactly. Well,
it's
it
it's a
forced the
system
mom and
that's
pop out
unfortunate.
of it, out of business because of the consolidation, and that's what was driving capitalism, good capitalism. The fact
Right.
that mom over here has it at this price, and Walmart, they buy so much more in bulk. Walmart says to mom, "Sorry, we got you beat." What
Well,
happens to
that was
mom? She goes out of
Amazon's.
business.
Yeah, I saw this great interview with Jeff Bezos, and he's like, I used to get people thinking they need to get rid of me because we weren't in profit, all these things. And he said I had 3 focuses, and I knew that as long as I focused on those 3 things, Amazon would become one of the biggest companies on the planet. And he said, I know people are always going to want things faster delivered. I know they're
Mhm.
going to always want them cheaper than everybody else. And I know that the satisfaction of the customer service is such an important part of the consumer journey. He's like, as long as I focus on those 3 things, fuck all could happen with the rest. People are going to show up for those 3 things no matter what we do.
Yep.
He's absolutely
Yes.
right. You could
And
hear
it made
that
it
the
work. Yeah.
warehouses are bad. You could hear that mom and pop shops are going out of business because of Amazon, or bookstores or whatever. You could go all the way with it, right? But truth be told, people will go to the place that has the cheapest prices with the most quality delivery and all that shit.
Absolutely.
Now,
They
I
won,
just heard a
so.
quote. I just heard a quote from Jeff Bezos, and that he said over 70% of all the products sold on Amazon is sold by individual companies. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
when we got 2 golden retrievers, their birthday was yesterday, by the way, 6, Dex and Leo.
Aw. It's funny
Happy
because
birthday
Arthur had
to
said another thing,
you.
right? This is what ends up happening when late stage capitalism happens. So Amazon owns, and they've been taken to court from this and lost. You can look this up. Amazon owns not just the storefront, they also own all the data, right? So one thing that
Mhm.
Amazon has is Amazon Basics. Now, would it surprise you guys at all that if Amazon sees the data going up for a certain product that you're selling on Amazon, that then they go and figure out who you're manufacturing it with, give them money, manufacture an Amazon Basics version of your product, push it higher up on the pages and push yours down so they make all of the profit and don't have to give you anything?
Yep.
Yeah.
They do that. And it's like, that's
Yeah.
what happens, right? No longer can you even compete in the same space with this big conglomerate because they can outprice, they could beat you every time. That's not capitalism. That's not competition, right? That's oligarchy. That's what that is.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
one group owning the power to go, oh, you're no longer in business anymore. Unfortunately, if YouTube banned us tomorrow, we no longer have a YouTube channel. We no longer get to make content on
Right.
YouTube, right? That's just the way it goes. There's a lot of people that have been banned from YouTube. So with that said, I don't know why I went on a rant.
Well, you went on a rant because you're excited.
Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
excited that
Honestly,
capitalism, as we know it, is
we
on its
got
way
on
out.
this rant. We got on this rant right here is because of the mention of AI and how it can solve this shit.
Yep. I think
Mhm.
capitalism will still exist without a shadow of a doubt because I do think it is a great system, but I think AI will make such a even playing ground
Yeah.
that it will
Yes.
be how you entertain, build a community, care, and grow with other people that will make you wealthy, not the other things anymore. And
Isn't that the whole idea of
that's
the
it. So
communication process with being human and such? And what, Robert, again, you keep telling us, connection, connection, connection.
yeah, people have money to spend and they'll want to be part of groups of people that are
Yes.
with them and understand where they're at and can support them. That is going to become like hugely important as we lose workplaces, as we become more isolated, as virtual reality starts to become more of a thing. You know, like I think in the next year or 2 years, as Apple and all these companies jump into VR and as AI exists, we're all just going to disappear into the world that we're in right now, which is like on the internet. We're just going to kind of like live here. And it's going to be
Our
weird
very own
because
Max Headroom.
yeah, it'll be safe. It'll be easy. It'll be nice and you'll like it and you won't own any of it.
Matt, anything else you're excited about?
I mean, I'm excited to go to the bathroom. I kind of have to go to the bathroom right now. So let me run and do that. You guys share what you're excited about for a minute, and then I'll share, and then we can kind of wrap it up. So,
okay, cool.
Be right back.
Craig?
No, I mean, I've already kind of shared what I'm excited about, and it's just a matter of continuing to keep myself in that frame of mind,
Yeah.
to move forward, to keep going because okay, um, okay, if here's a way I'm going to look at it in a sense, just how I feel right now. I can see I've been meditating and imagining myself holding either the Oscar or an Emmy. Okay.
Nice.
Now, if that's not positive enforcement, positive reinforcement and imagination, um, and that's what gets me excited. That's what gets anybody should get anybody excited. That's why, and you even share this, that's why meditation is so important. When you introduced me, Robert, to the 6 phase meditation and what the 6 phase meditation takes you through, it's not just about relaxing your mind and thinking nothing, but it's allowing the thoughts to come in and for you to realize, for you to imagine or imaginate, as we like to say, what you will be like in the future. And we've even seen some of the people that we are associated with who are in areas like in Africa
Right.
who are imaginating
Big
how
time.
they can get away from where they're at, what they're doing, being in a poverty type of situation and bringing themselves up so that they are better and they benefit not only themselves but their family. And
Bingo.
that is so exciting when you can see that happening. And it's a matter of our embracing of that excitement of ourselves after seeing people like, okay, Joshua Daramella and his group, and how you have helped guide them. And when I think of the same things that I have taken from your teachings into my life, and then what we discuss here on the podcast, it just it gets me more and more excited because I'm
Yeah.
able to share what I'm like right now. I'm sharing with you how I feel. I have become more open with how things are. I've been able to express my opinion more when a lot of people in my early days have said, just be quiet and do what you want to
Yeah.
do your own thing. Just, hush it, hush it, hush it. No, if I can share and help somebody become better, oh my gosh, what a fantabulous feeling. And if you have not done that, do it. Even if it's
Yeah.
just a little bit. Um, the Boy Scouts, I think I'm sorry if I get it confused. Because I'm a Boy Scout, which makes it even worse. But the motto is do a good turn daily.
Yeah.
Why?
Did my
So
good
that
deed.
you
Did my good deed of the day.
yeah.
Mom used to
So
say
not only
that.
yeah, but not
She
only are
like
you
helped
doing
somebody
it
and
for
be like, well,
somebody
doing my good
else,
deed.
but you're doing it for yourself.
Right.
Because
Right.
you feel good when you do that good turn, and you do more of those good turns, you're going to feel gooder and gooder every single time. What an incredible feeling. It's a matter of just embracing that. And
Yeah.
that's what's exciting for me. Well, gosh, you can tell right now.
Yeah. Wait, and thank you, Craig. That was such a great share. And for me to get up this morning knowing that I had another Zoom with Doc Michelle and Doc Ant,
Mhm.
and right as I got on there, Daniel's been with us forever. He's from South Africa, and he just would not stop fishing. He just and so now he's got these two couples, and he sends me a screenshot that I posted in the inner circle in the Imaginators, where Dr. Ant now is on the leaderboard, and it's like
Woo.
you take people like that have just been hurt over and over and over and over again.
Mhm.
And one of the things I'm really excited about, last thing that I'm excited about is um I can't tell you how excited I am of being able to share with people on how to build a subscription model with the number one travel club in the world. Matt is evidence, and a lot of people that are around me got to watch me build in the travel industry. I personally have been on hundreds and hundreds of trips, filled up my passport, and I just love how the world's changing where I can reach out to someone and say, can I ask you a question? Sure. Tell me about the best trip or vacation or holiday you've been on. And it's not something that they say I got to think about. They just go, bam. So I was talking to this lady from Nigeria, and she said, we were able to save up the money and take the family to Florida. And I go, would you like most about going to Florida? And she said, after the first day, she says, I was sitting around my family and they're all smiling and we were all at peace and we wasn't worried about all the drama and the noise that was going around. And I'm just going, wow. She didn't talk about an excursion. She didn't talk about some building or, architectural that they seen. Didn't talk about a museum. She says, I was sitting around my family and we're all just going, damn, damn, this is nice. This is really, really nice. And so she knew I was setting her up. And I go, so what's the next place we're going to? And she goes, I don't know. And I said, well, I'm marketing a membership where you can be a member of the largest travel club in the world. And we go on trips every 60 days. I said, I'd love to meet you in Greece. And she said, I don't think I can afford that. And I said, I'll show you how to get the trip for you and another person for free. And she's like, I'm in. And what I
Yeah.
love most about Dream Trips membership is you get to go to all the people that don't like to do business. Think about that.
Well, it
I'm
even
gonna hit up
fits it.
everyone. I'm gonna
Yeah.
hit up everyone I know. I'm gonna go through every one of my phone numbers. I'm gonna go through every one of my lists and just say, "Hey, listen, come tripping with us, man." It's like you know that constantly I'm showing you my social media. I'm always going someplace. Why don't you come with me? I can't afford it. I'll show you how to get the trip for free. I'll show you how to make some money so you can enjoy some of the excursions while we're there. And it's like I'm just so excited about this because not doing a pitch. I'm just saying that a 19-year-old company that's done 3 billion in sales with 5 million subscribers. They're the largest in the world, and now they're exclusive with us. And I'm just going to go out there and go, hey, you guys missed it on the last 6 years. Don't miss it on this one. Don't miss it on this one. So yeah, I'm really excited about that because I'm sitting here watching the chat go crazy. I know a bunch of stuff that is being launched to the company tomorrow on their corporate call. A new video is coming out.
Right.
Josh actually figured out how to do an interactive video. So it
Hmm.
goes for a short period of time, and then it asks you questions of what you're interested in most. And you click it, and then it takes you down that path. And so
Ooh.
not everyone's about money, and some people are about charity, and some people are about they just love selling products. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So depending on what you believe you could do, you'll go through this interactive, video going through it and then make a decision on how you want to participate.
Like a video game.
Yes.
Yeah. Choose your own adventure book,
Ah.
right? Except
Yeah.
it's choose your own
Uh-huh.
adventure through the company. Yeah. I love
Me
that.
and
I mean,
Matt, yeah, go
this
ahead.
is this is obviously when I saw the stuff that Josh was doing with that, I was like, shit, this is great. Just put achievements into it and we're good to go. Like
Yeah.
we're close, right? Like in my own mind, there's always been like me and my dad have had these conversations where I'm always like, man, if you could take like affiliate marketing and kind of mash it with the stuff that great video game companies do for retention, it would be insane because we're so accomplishment based. You know what I mean? The issue,
Really?
right? Yeah. The issue, right? Yeah. So like the issue becomes is that people are now so used to being rewarded that it takes more common rewards to get those dopamine feelings. And when you
Amen.
get none of them, people just go, oh, I'll go somewhere where I can get it. So
Yeah.
then that's
Mhm.
that's the interesting thing is like when you look at how people edit great YouTube videos like Mr. Beast, how certain things go viral, it's always normally based off of that,
Yeah.
right? So it's like you really, really have to focus on like the retention of people because their attention spans are so short. And it's like I would be like, if I was talking to Josh, I'd be like, they click button 2 and then it dings, achievement unlocked. You've went to phase 2. Fireworks go off.
Yeah.
And they go, holy shit, man.
He's done a little bit of that. So, I
That's
know with
cool. Yeah.
him having his tech team, he'll just get gooder
No,
and gooder. So,
those guys are great. I'm not talking from a place of being able to build it myself.
right.
So
Yeah,
yeah, no, I know that
I'm
they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
so I'm really, it's very rare to be in a company for over 6 years and you're still they still find new ways to get me excited to go out and help more people. It's like one of the things I love about just being a member of Dream Trips is if you stay a member for 6 months, you get a free cruise. That's like that's very that's interesting. That's like wow, I could get a cruise for free. Yeah. And I'm going like it's pretty interesting. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing I'm interested in, and but you guys know me. I know I never even thought about this as we did this podcast. I think some people would go, "Wow, maybe it's based on your imagination and your excitement of a number of things that are happening in your life that keeps you pretty busy on having the ultimate life."
Yeah, I mean, that's so true, Dad. I think when you are busy and excited about something, you'd be surprised at how fast all the pain in the ass shit goes away from your mind and how little you think about it. Like
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
you spend so much more time thinking about what you want to be doing, how exciting it's gonna be. Like especially traveling. Like I think that's one of those things that almost everyone can resonate with. I mean, I say almost everyone because I know there's people that don't like to travel. But
Right.
almost everybody goes, yeah, I would love to go to that place and see those places, like
Yeah.
Greek temples or things like
I mean,
that, or
how
whatever
many
it may be.
people how many people have never even been on a cruise?
Oh,
And
yeah.
so when you sit down and talk about doing anything to make your life better, and a person immediately poo-poos it, you know what I mean? I can't tell you how many people that are connected to me, and when I tell them where I'm going, they're like worried for me. And I'm going like, that's not your oh, I've heard that place is really
Yeah,
bad. And I'm going, hey, listen, look, what city do you live in? And they tell me.
St.
And I
Louis.
go, I can show you the bad places in your city. And you know what everybody says after I say that? Oh yeah, I know where that is. Oh, so you know not to go in this area in your city. Yeah, the crime is bad. People get murdered there. And I'm going, that's the same it is everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm giving a piece of information that a lot of people don't realize, but in the most dangerous cities in the world, where there's even a large cartel in that country, cartels like making money. So some of the best 4 and 5 star resorts on the planet is owned by the cartel.
Or at least
And
being
they want your business
rushed.
too, which is the reason why. So,
They don't
unless you do
they
something
don't need
stupid,
someone murdered there, so
yeah,
then no one shows.
yeah,
Yeah, like
and that's been brought up in many times. It's like the cartels know who and who not to mess with, and tourists, especially since that's a big part of
Oh,
the
tourism
relationship
is
between Mexico and U.S.
yeah.
Yeah,
People don't
unless you do
realize
something
that
totally
I
stupid.
we used to say this all the time, is when I was first in the industry, it was always a multi-billion dollar industry, right? And
Mhm.
then all of a sudden you step into other industries like coffee, second most sold commodity in the world. You know what I mean? There's
probably the
like,
most consumed drug, caffeine.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and and that was like, oh my God, like it was crazy. It was $350 billion. The only thing's bigger is oil, the consumption of oil. And
Right.
and then and then all of a sudden, the next step I stepped in is travel. And then you go to Google and you look up the stats in travel, and it's 7.2 trillion. 300 billion to 7 trillion. You see what I mean? All of a sudden you sit there and go, what the hell? And then you realize that, they always want to point the door that fell off one airplane. You know what I mean? And when you're in the United States, people don't realize that there's websites that you can go on where there's pretty close to about 8,200 flights a day.
Oh yeah.
And they seem to get people to the place safety. And so even if a wheel falls off or a door falls off, they seem to still get you to your location.
Right.
It's like if planes were killing 400 people at a shot, it might slow down their industry a little bit. But yeah, so you
It's,
got the people that point at the door instead of pointing on, hey, here's a picture with me and my family on the beach in Cabo. You know what I
yeah, well,
mean?
it's it's the news. So
Yeah, it
I
sure is.
I always I always think that I'm always like I'm like, if I'm thinking this way negatively about something, was it influenced by the news? It's like, yes. Fuck. All right. I need to rethink that then,
Yeah,
Odds are that's not my original thought. And I haven't thought enough about it if I'm accepting that opinion automatically. So,
and now
that's what
that
I
I
feel
brought
about
up
it.
that one
Like,
part,
for instance, GameStop stock is supposed to be a waste of space. And I've made like $280 today off of it. So,
so you're going to be making so much money you won't even need to do podcasts anymore or streams.
no, I'll still do them. I ain't doing those for you guys.
Yeah,
I'm doing those for me because like we talked about, I get on this podcast with you guys, and then I gotta like let you guys talk, and then it's like I need a space where only I'm talking. No, I'm just kidding.
I get it. I get it.
Just
It's
giving you
like
guys shit because you give
I don't
me
want to
shit.
be a part of a podcast. I want to be a podcast. There we go. It's like
It's the Matt Hollis show. All right,
yeah.
that's what it is.
Oh, and we're just living in your world, paying rent.
I
huh?
don't
No, it's like the yeah, the Dave
I don't
Chappelle
mind
thing,
him.
right?
I don't mind being in his world.
Yep.
I love watching my son win and be happy.
Hey, you guys know I'm just giving you. I'm shooting shit. You know what I
Of
mean?
course.
So I want to close this out. I want to close
Yeah.
this out.
You want me to
and,
finish with what I'm excited about?
No,
Okay.
no, you
I can
can
do
share
that.
with,
I'm gonna be
you can
on
share that
my.
with the other people on your stream.
I was gonna say I'll be on my stream after this. It's gonna take me a couple hours to go over all the things I'm excited about, but for those you'll have to go over there and subscribe to Matt Hollis on YouTube.
That was a good back and forth. That was awesome. Now I just want to end this up by very simply saying these words. We told you what we're excited about. What are you excited about? And if you were on this podcast and Matt or Craig or I said, "Hey, why don't you share with people what you're really excited about?" And you're like, please don't answer that. I don't have an answer for that one. You got to understand whether you believe this or not. It's nothing but a state of mind. It's only a state of mind. If there was a camera on you 24 hours a day, you'll see little glimpse of it every single day. You just don't realize it's happening. Maybe you scrolled and seen a puppy picture, or maybe you scrolled and seen something funny, and it's funny because when you see things that inspire you and lighten your heart and make you smile for just a little second, guess what? You can create those moments for other people. It's just a smile, it's a nod, it's reaching out to someone on social media, wishing them a very happy life and giving them a gift. And my deal is from day one, my mentors in my life immediately shared what changed their lives. And it made such a huge difference in my life. I'm going to spend the rest of my life finding things that help and encourage people to be excited about life again and excited every single day. So it goes from short parts of excitement like happiness to little longer moments of excitement and happiness. And then all of a sudden, everybody's like, what the hell happened to you? What? You're not around anymore. You want me to prove where this happens? Meeting a new person and falling in love with them. So you meet a new person, your mind cannot stop imagining what's going to happen next. You're in that mode of constantly being imaginative of where this relationship could possibly go. And then you get these calls. You don't show up at the bar anymore. Why aren't you playing video games? Why aren't you hanging around with us anymore? It's because I found this new person. They're excited as hell, and I'll talk to you later.
I mean, yeah, it's so true.
So every one of us know, and what do they call that? They call that the honeymoon period. So if you're not excited now, and if we drilled you and said, hey, you know what, we're going to ask you what you're excited about on the inner circle and the imaginator call, and you're like panicking and going into anxiety and stuff, it's very easy to get excitement in your life. And that's actually find something and start doing it. Don't talk about it. Don't complain about it. Don't talk about how much you suck at it. You just go out in little bits at a time. You start getting excited about getting gooder and gooder. This is not rocket science. It truly, truly isn't. I don't know if it happened today to close this out, but NASA is still trying to get up a new rocket. I've heard that it's been delayed for like 5 years, and it was supposed to launch again this morning. I don't know if they finally did it, but if they didn't, they probably postponed it. They're going to make another attempt. And so Elon Musk said, hey, I want to wish a lot of luck to Boeing and launching their Starlight. And I just, I want to let you guys know that between the first time you said you're going to launch and now, I've only launched 17, rockets. And they, how would you like to just be beat up by someone that just got there faster than you?
I mean, that's why that's why I was saying, if it's allowed to work the way it's supposed to, that should be an option.
It always should be.
If someone's inspired more than the government, you should be able to beat them to it,
So
Sell
did
it to them.
anybody Google really quick? Do we still have Arthur in the deal that the Boeing Starlight actually got off the ground today?
Let's
Oh,
see,
I could Google it quick.
Starliner launch.
Craig's our aficionado looking stuff up.
Looks like it lifted off 2 hours ago.
Congratulations to Boeing. You know what I mean? So, and I mean that.
And no one speak up about it. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, here's another reason why you have to be excited about yourself. And I'm glad I brought this up. Now I know why you did. Your goal is to stay excited about what you're doing in life and not listen to the opinions of others. You know what I said to my wife, Terry, this morning when I heard about, Boeing's going to make another attempt to launch today? This is exactly what I said. I said, it's sad that they took so long to try to finally get to this point that SpaceX has launched so many rockets in the air like this is no big deal. If they would have pulled it off when they said they were going to pull it off 6 years ago, it would have been interrupted, breaking news. It would have been on every news channel. But they didn't get their shit together. And so it's like, what there's a rocket launch? Yeah, that happens like every other day. So like right now it'd be like if someone, oh my God, did you hear this new car manufacturer just launched their new electric vehicle? It's like everybody's got an electric vehicle. What the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
So we know these cars that have created some pretty nice electrical vehicles, and it's just like, so what? So, but guess what? My point being, if it's your story and you're excited about it, who gives a shit about the rest of the people that are doing the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Dad. I think, like, hopefully when it's all said and done, when 30, 40 years go by, maybe you'll see me and it'll be like, hey, AI. And there you got Matthew Hollis there, standing there next to the rest of those other incredible people. So like,
Yeah.
I am optimistic, and that's where I'm pushing to, but I agree with you, Dad. You have to see that. And for the longest time, like, I didn't see myself there. And even what you were talking about earlier, with winning an Oscar in the 6-phase meditation, Craig, right? Like, the viewing of yourself in those moments is so integral in accomplishing things. And it was the same for Elon Musk. He had to see those rockets going up to push towards that goal. That company didn't make it almost many times, right?
Oh my God.
Many times.
Yeah.
So you have to have a vision looking forward and going, I am going to be at that table. I want to be at that table. And I am the person that's going to get that table, maybe even there. You know what I mean? And he is that person, regardless of how you feel about him.
Yeah. Well, Matt, we think about today of taking an air flight.
Yeah.
The second thing that you would think about is how many different airlines and how many carriers are flying to each place.
Right.
Why are there so many of them? Because there was one first. There was one person, TWA, that said, I think we could fly people from one country to another. And people are like, get the fuck out of here. It's like, so once there's the demand, so now what I see when I hear Boeing's got a rocket, it's like imagination. So Elon Musk says, listen, there will be a day that you will go to a place like SpaceX. You will jump in a BF rocket, big fucking rocket. and that's what he calls it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to take 300 to 400 passengers, and it's going to go out of space. The planet's going to rotate, and then it's going to come back and land. So that means that every place that you can go to in the world, you can get there in 45 minutes.
Yeah, it might even be less depending on where it is. Like LA to Japan would be pretty fast.
Yeah.
Because of the rotation of the Earth, how fast the Earth rotates. Like it
only
gives
24,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, so you can really get a lot of movement if you can go up and break atmosphere and then come right back down. It's a lot faster than flying through it. And then think about it, there wouldn't be like as they make them better, the storms. Here I'm going now. Am I excited? Because I can't wait to be able to go anywhere as I want.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like go work in Japan, in Tokyo, and then come back to my family in California same day.
What a
like,
way,
that would be
what a
great.
way,
I'll meet you in my transporter device. Thank you, Star Trek.
Yeah.
I've already said what I feel about that. I'm like, I've made jokes about it, Craig, because I'm like, okay, you go through the teleporter. It takes all your atoms and disintegrates them. And then you get put together at another teleporter. Who's to say you weren't just disintegrated and they just cloned your ass in another space?
Oh, yeah. I know you brought that up before.
That's my worry, right? Like, how do you get the particles together over there?
Hey, you're not the same dude. Your DNA is different. No.
Well, of course, there's always The Fly to go back to, right? The movie.
Yeah. Don't let it accidentally get in the machine. That wouldn't
exactly.
But the thing I was going to finish with is Elon Musk said, loading the rocket and unloading the rocket once you get to your destination is going to be the longest part of the trip.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take like 20 minutes to go up and back down. Well, I think that, there might be some other people like Boeing and Blue Origin and Virgin. It's like everyone knows it's possible. So they don't want Elon Musk to have the only thing that gets you to a new location in 45 minutes. And everybody's looking at, wow, these are a bunch of billionaires just throwing away money. No, this is new commercial flight. This is new commercial rocket space.
Yeah, I know we could keep talking about this stuff forever because like I got more to say, but I'll just say that I'm excited about all that stuff too. So
yeah. But just excited about the future. So
yeah, absolutely.
Amen.
Make sure you figure out what you can get excited about, and we'll turn it back to you, Craig.
Wow. Thank you guys so much for an amazing discussion, and thank you for watching. You can follow Robert Hollis at roberthollis.com. Also, if you'd like to join our exclusive communities that we've mentioned during this podcast, the Inner Circle and Imaginators, you can join us by going to roberthollis.com/join to register. There'll be lots of great exclusive content, and you'll be able to participate in our special breakthrough sessions to help you move to the next level. Please don't forget to like and share this video on YouTube with others, and because it will help us grow our community and reach those with ears to hear. Thank you, and shout out to our executive producer and visionary, Matt Hollis. Matt, bless you, my friend. Thank you so much for being our foundation.
Thank you, Craig.
Of course,
Robert.
Wow. Thank you so much for being our GPS.
The Grand Poobah.
Our Grand Poobah, yes.
That's right.
And our Imaginator in Chief. And thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be part of Unlimited Wisdom with us. This is Craig A. Jackman. Please be good to yourselves. Be cash. And until next time, bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Dad. Love and appreciate you. Thank you, Craig.
Love and appreciate you.
Love you, Robert. Love you.
See you guys next time.